Let me hear you say ho if you make it straight toe. If you got love for them players, let me hear you say ooh, ladies, we want you. If you got love for them straight G's and you wanna be there, just scream.
Good morning from Olympia, Washington. It's Wednesday, July 17th of 2019. My name is Bobby Johnson, and yes, I'm a developer evangelist at Auth0. Thank you for coming to check out my stream today, and thank you, Mike Jolly, for that sub. You were the first, and you actually encouraged a second person to subscribe to my stream, so thank you for breaking that barrier. Hopefully I'll get lots more subs in the coming future. Cool. So I'm doing something I haven't done for a little while. I'm actually going to be doing a coding stream, which is kind of fun. Let's see, who's with me so far? I have Mr. Mike Jolly with me. And it looks like I have Canis Lupus Blanco? Lupus Blanco. Canis Lupus Blanco. Lupus is dog or wolf? Is that right? Wolf, or is Lupus wolf? Blanco is white or black wolf. Black Canis. I don't know what Canis means though. Huh. Anyway, thanks for showing up. I don't think I've seen you on my stream before. I've been spamming the heck out of Twitter, so hopefully that's where you saw it. Also spamming various Slacks that I'm in to get our Auth0 community together to maybe check out my stream. I really appreciate you guys showing up. So if you haven't seen one of my coding streams before, I have kind of a style of doing it. Let's pop over to view what's going on my screen. So the way I typically do this is I will work in a GitHub repository. Right now we're working in Bivrost. Bivrost is my ASP.NET Core backend, front-end Vue.js application that does all of my overlays and things like that you see on the screen right now. And when I want to go work on a project like this, I'll go into GitHub and I'll create a project board that shows all of the things that I want to work on, right? So the project I want to be working on today is chat reflection improvements. I kind of list out what time I'm going to be doing that and a link to my stream, that sort of thing. If you've ever, what it ends up looking like, if we go over here to Broxburn and take a look at that, is over in the project board. You can see, okay, well, I did a Broxburn stream. It ended up taking 2 parts. Here are the links to that out on YouTube if you want to watch them. And Broxburn is kind of a dead project. It was kind of a getting started project for me that kind of helped me figure out my workflow and what I wanted to do on screen. And you can see I've got a bunch of tasks there for Broxburn. That's nice, whatever there. But here is our board for today's stream. And so we are currently in the introduction section of my stream today. And a couple things that I wanted to point out is I have set a schedule for myself. If you go to my my Twitch page, the schedule is the very first thing down here in the information area. And I'm going to do my best to stick to this schedule over the coming weeks. So I tried to spread it out throughout the day. I also tried to not step on any of the streamers that are a part of my live coders team that I like to watch. I don't want to interrupt their schedules or their broadcasts. So what I came up with was Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams. On Monday, I'll go live at 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's 3 p.m. UTC. Wednesday, I'll go live at noon. Right now, I'm doing it right now. And that's 7 p.m. UTC. And then Friday, I'll go on a little later to try to catch, the later crowd, the folks that come in. I'm kind of an early bird, so I like to do things early in the morning. That's where I'm most productive. So on Friday, I'll try to go on a little later at 2 p.m., which is about 9 p.m. UTC, and I want to see how that works for me. I've also updated this area of my channel to show some information about myself, my schedule. Here you can find some of the places that I've worked at in the past. You can find a link to my YouTube channel to find recorded streams and other things that I happen to do in video. I talk about my live stream setup. You can see that on my blog. And then the various social media network ways you can interact with me. So I have my website, my Twitch channel, my Twitch username, Twitter, GitHub, Stack Overflow, LinkedIn. I don't Facebook. I just don't. So no Facebook on there. And then I have some links to my project repositories, right? So the schedule is set. That's when you'll find me streaming on a regular basis. But sometimes I do some pop-up streams as well. And I want to call out one that I am doing tomorrow. And that's tomorrow at noon. I'm going to have Vittorio on. He's going to be a guest on the stream, and Vittorio is a senior architect or principal architect, I think, actually, at Auth0. He's very well known in the identity space. He's a long-term Microsoft employee who worked on things like Active Directory and ADFS, things like that. I started this set where we're watching videos that he produced, or a schedule where we're watching videos that he produced on identity concepts. And he's going to join us tomorrow to basically watch the video with us on OpenID Connect and OAuth 2, and then also give us some detailed information that's not necessarily in the video. And he'll be available to take questions as well. And you might have seen on Twitter the Auth0 I want to say channel, that's the wrong word. The Auth0 Twitter account has been promoting this. So I'm hoping to bring in some new folks to check out the stream based on Vittorio's popularity. So you might have saw me pop in earlier today, actually start a stream. That was a test stream I was running with Vittorio, so he would know what it's like basically to be on a Twitch stream. He's never done it before. I've never had a guest on before. So we're going to try to figure it out together, and it should be a lot of fun. If it works out really well, I'm going to start trying to pull in other Auth0 engineers, both to pair program with me and also to talk about the things that they're working on here at Auth0. So that is that. So let's go back to our board here. And I've talked about my new schedule, and I've talked about the scheduled event with Vittorio. So that card's done. Look at that. We're already knocking cards out. I love that. So in my previous stream, I talked about I wanted to highlight some of my fellow streamers in the community. I am a member of the Live Coders dev team, and if you're not familiar with that, you can go to livecoders.dev. And it will pop up a list of, I think we're up to 61. We're up to 61 people in the Live Coders team. There are just a ton of great live coding streamers on here. And the last time that I streamed, I called out a handful of people, 3, that were my favorite streams to watch right now. I try to catch them every time they're streaming. They're really top quality streamers. And this time around, I wanted to call out some lesser known streamers that I actually really appreciate, and I try to catch all of their streams as well. And I'm going to start out with talking about Adrian Hall. I've known Adrian Hall for probably close to a decade. We met each other in SeattleAlt.net, a meetup group. And we ended up working together at Russell Investments, and we've just kind of kept in touch with each other. His streams are really fun. They're broad. He talks about a lot of different technologies. He tends to try out new tools and things like that on his channel. He also is a huge metalhead, if you didn't catch that from his description here. So he generally has really great music on his stream as well. And he works in some unusual languages that you might not catch in some of the other streams that I was talking about. So he does a lot in Go. He does a lot with database technologies and things like that. So I encourage you to go subscribe or follow Adrian and check out one of his streams. He's really good. The next streamer that I want to call out is probably, other than C# Fritz, the first person I started interacting with on Twitch, and this is Robert Tables. Robert Tables has a really fun stream. He's been doing it for a while. He has kind of a style of his own. He streams a lot of different topics. He talks a lot about containerization in AWS. So if you're interested in learning about those types of technologies, Robert Tables is a great stream to catch. He also does a lot of like free form, just chatting with his audience kind of streams, which are really fun. Last week, we got to a deep introduction to his wife's garden, it was a blast. I loved watching that stream. And then let's see, he also is very much into mechanical keyboards and hardware hacking. So that's not necessarily something I'm really that into, but I like watching someone who's enthusiastic about a topic talk about that topic. So definitely hit up Robert Tables' channel and give him a follow. He's a great streamer and a lot of entertainment there. The last one that I want to call out is Codebase Alpha, which the host on this channel his name is actually SMB. And he is a new streamer. He doesn't have a huge audience, but he's very consistent, and the stream quality is very, very good on his stream. So I encourage you to check out what he's doing on his stream. Looks like he broadcasts on Mondays and Wednesdays. He's based out of the UK. And he does a lot of, I believe it's game development is a lot of what he talks about. So it's a very fun stream. Go check him out. All right, so back to our board. I talked about live coders. I talked about Adrian. Talked about Little Bobby Tables and SMB Codebase Alpha. Right. So definitely, if you're looking for content, more content like what you're seeing today on my stream, or you're a fan of like C# Fritz and you're looking for more content, check out the Live Coders dev team. Like, there's just a plethora of content to go through and check out, and I would really appreciate that. So that is that. Let's check it out. It looks like Mr. Jolly and Mr. Tables have discovered I made them mods on my channel. I want to start taking the streaming very seriously, and I know that once you reach a certain level of popularity, you're going to start getting trolls. So what I did was I went into the Live Coders team, and I went through and made mods of everyone who I recognize. So if I go into the creator dashboard here and go into moderation, or actually roles, you can see I've got a whole host of mods that if they happen to be in my channel, I'd appreciate them doing some moderation for me. Especially, I kind of have trouble focusing on what I'm doing and paying attention to chat, so I really appreciate folks helping me out there. I want to make it a nice, friendly environment and nobody, ticking other people off. So that's what that one's about. Let's see. So today I want to talk about the chat reflection that you're seeing on my stream right now. And I'm actually looking for it, and my chat bubbles are not coming up. So let's troubleshoot that real quick. I'm going to quickly switch over to my overlay. Give me a second. You can't see me. And I'm going to refresh my chat. So refresh, hit OK, pop back to my screen, and let's give that a test. Well, there's the first thing we can troubleshoot right now. So I'm going to actually go to the URL where Bivrost is hosted. And let's see. I'm suspecting because I just sat there on channel without any chatting going on, my container actually got recycled. So, oh, Lupus Blanco, it's really easy, and there are tons of examples. I encourage you to take a look at, if you're looking at like just a bare bones setup, you can take a look at Bivrost. You can see like how the parts are put together, because I don't have a whole lot of functionality in there yet. Or you can take a look at Mike Jolly's EO, which is all JavaScript now, and it's kind of broken up into microservices, and it's very sophisticated. It's a nice setup, and I believe C# Fritz has his own as well. So it's kind of like a Jedi rite of passage sort of thing. Every streamer has to build their own lightsaber. Bivrost happens to be mine. And come on, Bivrost, why aren't you connecting? Let's go. So if you are interested in checking out how Bivrost is putting together, because this demo is obviously making it look seriously awesome, here is the GitHub project for that. Let's go check Zeit, excuse me. I've been saying it in my head for so long as Zeit that now that's what it is to me. So let's see. State is active. I'm down here. What is going on? I'm going to go ahead and kill that one. Okay. Looks like my hosting is just not working the way I want it to right now. I wonder if I can restart it or recycle it from here. Nope. Okay, well, let's do it the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to actually bring the code up, and I'm going to fire it up. And as soon as I fire it up, we should see Bivrost announce in the channel that he's available and running. I can play with the hosting a little later and figure out why that is failing. Let's kill this and get it back over here. There he is, right there. Now if we say something, hello, it's still not going to show up because I'm using the hosted version of this. So let me fix my overlay real quick. Sorry about that. Man, copy. Overlay, Bivrost chat. And okay. All right, give me that back, and let's give it a test. Hey, there we are. And you can actually see the chat popping up just in my browser right here. You can see that, so that's pretty nice. So let's see. I wanted to talk about the architecture of Bivrost to kind of give you an idea of what it all does and how it works. And so just before I came on stream, I kind of started putting this diagram together, kind of showing you the various components and how they work together inside the application. So starting at the outermost ring, I'm hosting on Zeit. And what I'm hosting on Zeit is actually a Docker container. Did he die again? Hola. No, they're still there. Did that work? Mr. Jolly, can you say something for me? All right, well, I'll wait until you guys say something to see it again. There it goes. It's not just Mr. Jolly not showing up, is it? It's back. There we go. Okay. So just understand that like the deployment model that I have right now is that I'm hosting in Zeit. What I'm hosting is a Docker container. Those couple things really don't pertain to the architecture. It's just wanting you to know what it is. So Bivrost itself is a single page application with some backing APIs. The APIs are basically ASP.NET Core. We have some API endpoints. We have a static proxy. It also hosts a Twitch bot itself. And then we also have a SignalR WebSocket functionality, right? And then the static proxy basically proxies out a Vue.js application. What is that, Mr. Jolly? I'm not sure what that is. Let me copy that and I'll take a look. Copy. Come back out here. That is a picture of me. Cool, thanks. Oh, you're trying to get it to show up in the chat? Did it actually show up? It went away too fast. So anyway, so within Vue itself, we have some CSS frameworks. I'm using basically stock Bootstrap and Animate CSS. Yeah, I'm kind of hiding. I don't allow any HTML currently. One, I didn't want to end up in the situation that you were in once. And two, I didn't necessarily know how to do that in Vue.js. I know how to do it now, but when I was working on this piece, I didn't want to end up in the situation you were at and not be able to control it. So, okay, so right now we just have stock Bootstrap and Animate.js, and you can see those things here, right? It's absolutely stock Bootstrap. And the only overlay I have implemented currently is the chat overlay, which is malfunctioning for me on Zeit, which is funny because it's been working all morning long. And as soon as I go live, it died on me. Anyway, so within the Vue.js application itself, though, I'm using Vue Router, Vuex, Vue Router for client-side routing, Vuex for client-side state management, and then a SignalR library for connecting to the SignalR WebSocket of the ASP.NET Core application. So what happens when I first hit, Bivrost from my browser? I kind of come over this way, right? And what we hit is the static proxy. And what the static proxy serves up is the Vue.js application, right? So if I come over here and let me actually move the arrows, thank you. So basically we get a bundle of JavaScript and a bundle of CSS comes back to my browser and renders into the page itself. Now, once that has rendered, the very first thing that gets fired up is a SignalR connection to SignalR. Now, when the application is actually running itself, as it starts up, the Twitch bot starts up and it connects to IRC and subscribes to any chat messages that comes through. And it pumps those messages through SignalR to the browser, and the client-side SignalR library adds those messages into the Vuex state management, right? And then that gets broadcasted out to the overlay, right? And my intention is that I will have a single state store that gathers up chat messages, gathers up things like follows and bits and subscriptions and basically all the events, and all those events will get funneled into the client-side state store, and I can create a overlay page just like this chat one like this, that I can use inside OBS and display the various events that I want. Another thing that Bivrost does is it listens to chat, so it can respond to chat messages. And I believe the only chat message I have right now, let me bring it up, that's accomplished through Bivrost anyway, is, let's see, handlers. I have the chat reflection, and I have a shout out handler, right? So when someone does a shout out for me, like I do a bang SO, at Robert Tables, Bivrost should kick that out, respond to it eventually. Come on, buddy. Wow. I should just quit and go drink. Nothing is working today. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to go and let's see. Run it like this. Try it one more time. I'm going to throw in a breakpoint in there, see if it's actually hitting anything. Bam. So there, we hit the handler. And if I walk through it, let's see where it passes out at. So it should match. Yes. No, it didn't match. Why didn't it match? It's false. Command match notifications message. What is my command regex? Looks like my regex is bad. Oh, I think I know what it is. Fire that. It's because I'm putting at symbols in there. So if I do it like this, bang, Robert Tables. We hit it. That should match. And it's not going to do it for me. So anyway, my regular expression is failing. What's going on with that? So it should be... So if it starts with SO, it should hit this command. Hey, go do it. SO should be words, and any number of spaces after the words should work. Oh, it did work. What was I doing wrong? Oh, I didn't type SO. Derp. Anyway, sorry, I'm being extra derpy today. So you kind of get the idea. Basically, the backend services proxy chat events that also respond to commands issued in the window. And thank you for recognizing that, guys. I appreciate that. And then just proxies them off to the client application in that way. And everything else happens inside the client application. What else is interesting in here? I think you kind of got the idea of what the application is, right? There's a server-side component that does all of the communication out to a client-side application. And all of the interesting logic is built inside the client-side application. One thing I don't have implemented yet is the capability to play sounds. So that's something I hope to add in a future stream. But you kind of got the idea of how Bivrost is structured currently, right? So if I go ahead and get out of here, because I don't want to look at that, we can go back to our plan for the stream, figure out where we're at. So I talked about how chat reflection works. We talked about how the bot receives a chat message. It uses a SignalR-based WebSocket to send that out to the client. The client then stuffs that into a message store, and depending on the overlay you're looking at, the overlay will pull those messages out of the store and display them. Works pretty nice. Okay, so actually one thing I intended to do was actually show you these pieces of functionality within Bivrost itself. So let's start on the server side. If you're looking at my project structure, it's pretty straightforward. I have a source directory. Inside the source directory, I have a client. That's the client-side application that goes out to the browser. And then I have a server-based application. That is the ASP.NET Core application itself. And if I look inside Twitch, I have a bot here. And the bot subscribes right here to on message received. Can you guys see this text okay? Is the fonts big enough? I have it kind of blown up a little compared to what I normally do, but I want to make sure you guys can read what I'm saying here. So I subscribe to on message received, and if I go down and actually look at the implementation of that, let's see, where's it at? On message received. The first thing I do is I log out that I received that message to my logger. And then I use a mediator-based pattern to publish a message. And that message is a receive chat message notification. And I just hand the chat message along with it, right? So if you're not familiar with mediator, what mediator allows you to do is to basically decouple your message handling from your message receiving, basically. It's kind of like a message pump. I can just publish a notification and anything can handle it that happens to be subscribing to that notification. And the way you subscribe to a notification is called a handler in this particular application. So I have a chat reflection handler. And my chat reflection handler is of type iNotification handler for the receive chat message notification. Now I can have as many of these handlers as I want. So this handler happens to do the chat reflection, but if I wanted to do something else with the chat message, like say collect emotes out of it, I would just create a separate handler to handle that sort of thing, right? So this handler listens for this particular type of message, and then it does something with it. And the thing that it does is reflect the chat. So if we come down here into the implementation itself, and let me widen that out some so you can see the code better. I declare my dependencies here. I have a user cache. I have a hub context. That's my SignalR context for shipping messages out. And then I have my logger to where I can log events within the handler itself. A handler has a single method, which is handle, and it handles the notification. I get a cancellation token as well if I want to prematurely cancel the handling of the message. The first thing in my chat reflection handler is I don't want to reflect any commands coming from chat out to the actual stream itself. Like if you're issuing a command, I don't need that to show up in the stream. Just let a chat handler handle that sort of thing. So I early out there. The very next thing I do, because the chat message coming from Twitch doesn't have detailed user information, which I care about, I use a caching system to get the user object itself. And we could dig into that and look at it in the future. Just for right now, just know what this cache does is it looks in its own cache to see if the user is already there. If not, it'll reach out to the Twitch API and get the user object for me and insert it into cache. So I get a user. I then broadcast out to all listening clients that I received a chat message. And this is the object that I send out. Basically, it is a user with their ID, their display name, a profile image, whether or not they are me, a moderator, a subscriber, any badges they have, any bits that are associated to the message, the ID of the message itself, any emotes that were there, any bits, and the room ID, basically the channel ID for IRC, right? So this is going out over SignalR. This message is received by the app itself, the client-side app. So that's kind of the server-side portion of this, broadcasting messages out to Bivrost, client-side application. Inside the client-side app itself, if we go into, I believe it's an app, this is the highest level Vue component within my application itself. And what I'm doing is I have a sockets object inside my app, my highest level portion of my application, that receives the chat message. So when SignalR, the server side, sends out the message, this is where it gets received in my application. And really all I do with that is I dispatch a message to my my state store client side that a chat message has arrived. And the way that is wired up inside my store is I have things broken out into modules. Right now I only have a chat module. But if we look inside chat, you can see I have a standard flux pattern inside here. I start out with a state of no chat messages. Currently I'm not using any getters. I have two actions. I have an add message and a delete message that commit the messages or remove the messages from my store. And then I have the corresponding mutations to that simply adds a message to the array or removes the message from the array itself in a reactive way. That way the UI knows to update itself when messages change. Let's see. So that's it for the message getting into the store, but how does it actually show up on screen itself, right? So in my application, I am using a model where I use page controllers, right? So I have a page called chat overlay page, and that's what we're looking at right here. This is the chat overlay page. If we open that up, we can see that I simply have a chat list object that I pass the display messages into. And the display messages is a computed property that basically looks at state and filters out the max display for messages. This is important. I want you guys to remember this because I don't like the way this works currently. So basically what I'm saying is, okay, on the chat overlay page, give me because I have a max display here of 5, give me the last 5 messages and render them using this chat list component, right? So my components are set up in this components directory, and all my chat components are right here. So let's take a look at chat list. What does chat list do? Chat list sets up a transition group, which is a Vue.js feature. And what the transition group allows me to do is to assign CSS classes to the items that are being inside the transition group based on events. So when a chat message is entering the group, we're going to animate it and have it bounce in up, right? And when the chat message leaves the transition group, we're going to have it animated as well and have it fade out right. So if you look at a chat message when it pops in, let's try it out here. Test it. You see it bounces up really nicely. And then after a period of time, we don't know what's controlling this yet. You'll see it kind of slide out to the right? So there's a 10-second timer in there somewhere that's controlling that message being removed from the list. And so that is pretty straightforward for the list itself, but the chat message is where a lot of the logic of the display is being handled. And you can see the template itself is a little more complicated. I'm using a Bootstrap card object. And I'm passing in a bunch of class information right here, getting a bunch of information whether or not a watermark should be displayed, not displayed. The watermark is the thing you see on Mike Jolly's display there where it has a shield. Mike Jolly is a subscriber and a moderator. So if you look at the logic here, by default, if you're a broadcaster, you get the auth0 shield, which is what I have. Hello. You see the auth0 shield there. Very nice. But if you're not the broadcaster, you can see it right here, and you are a moderator, you get the shield. So you see Mike Jolly's shield there because he is a moderator. And the next one is if you are a subscriber, but you're not a broadcaster or moderator, you get a little sword. So anybody that's subscribed to me, they get a little special glyph on their particular chat bubble. I kind of like the way that works. I wrote it without actually having anybody in my channel that was a subscriber or a moderator, so there could be some bugs in there. I think we discovered one last stream. There was like just a silly bug that like only my messages showed up, which was kind of fun. Display text we'll talk about in just a second. That is doing some filtering of the actual message itself in the bubble. And then you see down here in the bottom, I have a footer that is added only if there are bits associated with the particular message that came through. I don't know if this works or not. No one's actually given me bits yet while I've been using Bivrost. So that may or may not work yet. And that's something I'd like to actually kind of cover today. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So drilling down into the actual logic of this component, you can see that I have a set timeout as soon as the component is mounted. So a chat message is about to be displayed on the screen. I call this set timeout method. And if we scroll down and take a look at the set timeout method, you can see I set a timeout method to fire as soon as the age is timed out. And my age is basically 10 seconds. And when the timeout fires, I call the remove method, which is right above it. And what it does is it dispatches a message to my store to remove the message itself, right? Are you guys following me so far? So when a chat message is displayed on the screen, the chat message itself times itself and removes itself after 10 seconds. And I came up with this, I think last week or a week before. And I kind of like this pattern the way it is, but it presents kind of a problem. And the problem is, if you remember, when I go back here to my chat overlay page, I am filtering only the last 5 messages. So let me pop this up. I'm going to do an inspect element. I'm going to show you a bug that I would actually like to fix today. So these are the Vue developer tools itself. And what I'm going to do, hey, look, my bits don't work. Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate that. I need to get that aligned appropriately. And that's another thing I would like to tackle today if we have enough time. So if I go back to our board, I kind of want to fix this bug that I'm about to show you in the chat reflection Vuex usage. And then I want to create like a test form that allows me to just plug in a chat message directly to the state store. That way I can test these various switches within the application itself without having to be connected to chat and without having to fiddle with it to make it be, this is what a subscriber looks like. This is what this looks like. So those are kind of the two meaty things I'd like to get done today. So we've done the review of how chat reflection works within the application itself. So I'm going to call that one done. And we're going to start looking at more in depth of how the chat reflection Vuex usage works. So we've got things kind of spread out across a couple different places. So logically, I have the chat overlay page. I also have the state store for chat. I'll pull this one out. Remember, the top level component app is responsible for inserting the messages into the state store itself. I'm kind of waffly about that one too. I don't like the thought of, okay, all of these things that are going to be coming over the WebSocket being wired up in the high level app. I'd like to come up with a different pattern that is more localized, where these things aren't spread out so far. Does that make sense? And we have the chat overlay page, and we have the chat message that affect the state store. Right? These 3 things all touch the state store in some way, or 4 things. So the bug is right here. I am passing the display messages into the chat list. Chat list just passes that through to individual chat messages. But this display messages, it's filtering it to only be the top 5. And then the chat message itself gets rid of itself, right? I've kind of stated that a couple times. Does anybody see what the bug might be? So assuming 6 chat messages come in the span of 10 seconds, I get an orphaned message in the state. So if I go look at my delete message, we can see my state here in the Vuex tools. And right now I have no chat messages in there. So let's pop in 6 or 7 messages really, really fast, right? So there's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the messages will eventually age themselves out. We can look and we can see the deletes coming in, waiting for them all to leave. And now if I come down to this very last one, hey, it did the right thing. Let me try that again real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bang, 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 bang. And the number 1 message, right, didn't age out. It had that filter applied to it, so that it left the screen because I'm filtering based on only 5. And it's not there. Is this not a bug? Did I just make this bug up in my own head? Let's try it. I'm going to refresh to where we have a clean state transformation, okay? So I have my base state. I'm going to plug in my 6 messages really fast. Bang, 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 bang. That was pretty awesome. Okay, so chat messages. What's your state right now? I have 7 in there. Okay, it ended. And they all popped out. So I guess that bug isn't a bug. I don't need to worry about that. So let's go back to our board. What was it I was concerned about? What I was concerned about was that when chat's rolling in really fast, the message pops off the top, but it never gets removed from the state itself. Thanks, Codeman Codes. Yeah. So what I was concerned about was that my chat message state would grow indefinitely until the memory for the browser basically just choked and Bivrost died, right? And I could have swore last week I actually saw that in action, like I've been playing with it and seeing it happen, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. I don't see it happening. So yeah, that's pretty dope. I fixed a bug that didn't even exist. Yeah. Okay, so wait, if it's more than 10 seconds though, will 5 still in the state? Will those not showing timeout before they show? That's the assumption that I had, actually, yes. My assumption was, okay, where is it at? The chat overlay page, as chat messages are flowing into the store, I'm saying only give me the last 5, and I'm going to display those. And now, if those 5 are sitting there in the display, after 10 seconds, the oldest one is going to slide out. Now, if we had 6 pop in the span of 10 seconds, that 6th one is just going to disappear because of... Where's it at? My chat list. Because of this enter and leave, right? The chat overlay filter here would cause there to be a message that's in state that's not being displayed. And because it's not being displayed, it would not time out and kill itself. But I think the act of just putting the chat message in there with this timeout function after 10 seconds even if it's not being displayed anymore, it still removes itself from the store. So the bug that I thought was there isn't really a bug. But once again, I thought, or not thought, I don't like how all this functionality is kind of spread across all of these files. I want to kind of clean this up a little bit so that when we go into the chat module itself and I say add a message in there, the first thing it does is it checks to see like this, right? So state.chatmessages.length. If it's greater than 5, right, I want to pop the oldest message off so that the filtering for the view happens inside the state store. It's not the chat overlay page controlling that itself. So why don't we go ahead and implement that and see if it works the way I want it to. So we're going to do this, if state store, we're going to state dot chat messages dot, let's see, pop is going to take me the last, going to give me the last one. I want unshift, I think. Unshift, which should pop the oldest message out, leaving us with just 5 messages in there. Let's see. And then we're going to push a message in, which would leave us with 6. Am I reading that right? Maybe I have so many new messages coming in that they never get rendered on to the screen. Then they don't get their timeout set and won't remove themselves. But that would be more concurrent messages. Maybe. I'm not sure. So let's see. If the length is greater than 5, that means we have at least 6. That kind of assumes that there's never 7. So I want to keep doing that? Oh, well, I could do it like this. So while chat messages length is greater than 5, unshift popping the oldest ones off. And then once we're down to just 5, push the next message on. And I think this actually needs to be greater than 4. Because we want to get down to 4, and then we're going to stuff the 5th one on. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to come back over here to the chat overlay page, and I'm going to get rid of this computed property, or at least the returning of or slicing of that array, right? So let's get rid of that, and let's see if the functionality works the way I expect it to. So we're going to come back over here. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And no, it is not. Why is it not popping them off? Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. So we are getting back all of the chat messages. I should probably change this from computed to something else, but I'll deal with that once I have it working the way I want it to. So this is a mutation, add message. So I'm going to leave the messages on the screen long enough to be able to see what's going on. So I'm going to take out this timeout call, and it'll leave the messages on screen indefinitely, basically. So refresh. Okay, so let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's where we would expect it to pop the next message off. So 6. Oh, that's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait. Why is it doing that? Add chat message. Let's go look at our chat array. Ooh, did I kill it? Stop it. Do the right thing. Okay, one more time. I'm gonna try that again. Yeah, I think that might be the case. I did an unshift, but I think maybe I should be doing a pop. So just to confirm. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we've got 5 being displayed. If I do another one, it's not. Yeah. So it's not doing it. I'm popping the wrong thing off. So let's take a look. Where's it at? Yeah. So let's change this to be a pop. Refreshing that. Stop it. I think I'm throwing it into an infinite loop as well, which is weird. Try it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That was interesting. That took the wrong message out. It took the 5th message, not the first message. Length is greater than 4. Pop. Do I need to use slice? Let's go check MDN real quick. MDN slice. Slice 2 is going to take what? It takes the first 2 out of the array and hands you the rest of the array. So it could be slice that I need. So let's give that a try. So Lupus Blanco, you're suggesting that I might need to use splice. Let's take a look at that one. What does splice do? Month splice 1, 0, inserts at index 1. Replaces one element at index 4. Yeah. I think what I want is slice, but I think that doesn't modify the array in place. It returns a new array. So I'm not sure if that's going to work with the reactivity, but let's give it a shot. So state message, chat message equals chat messages dot slice 1. Right? Is that right? Yeah. I just want to pull the first one off. And you know, I probably could do that instead of doing it in a loop. What I could do is say state chat messages dot length -5. So instead of looping, taking one item out of the array at a time, I do it in just one slice call. Let's see what behavior that does. Okay, so back to Bivrost. All right, and I'm going to put my 6 messages in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's interesting. It's only showing 2. Or it's showing me 3. As soon as I add a 4th, it removes 1. So I think this is the way to do it. I just have my math wrong, basically. Because mathing is hard. So let's see. Let's get rid of this while call. I do think this is the way I want to do it, though. So I'm mutating state just in one place. And I don't have this kind of logic about what's being displayed spread over several different places. So yeah, okay, I already took that out. Here's my chat message. So what is the logic that I need here? So if I have 5 and I subtract 5, how is that giving me 3? Let me think about this for a second. So we have an array. We have message, 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 message. Say that's the existing state of our application, of our store. And we're pushing another message into it. We're saying, hey, the chat messages should be... Well, here, what if we put a check in there first? If state chat messages length greater than 4. So there's more than 4 of them. We want to pop off the last whatever is beyond that so that we have 4. So if our current state is we have 5 messages in the array, this should be true. The length is greater than 4. So slice length minus 5. So our length in this case would be 5. Minus 5 is going to give me 0, so it's not going to remove anything. Is that the behavior we're seeing, though? Let's take a look. Okay, refreshing. Come in. All right, so I have my 5 messages. Now I'm going to go 6. Okay, let's take a look at state. It's an add message. I have 6 in the array. Well, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Let's debug it. Webpack. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for my store. Modules. Chat. And here is where my logic is at. So now let's throw another message in there. This would be message 7. Hit my breakpoint. So it helps if you spell length correctly. Dar. Okay. All right, let's give that another try. All right. Oh, I should take that off and let it run. Boom, boom, boom. There goes my 5. Now if I come back and I add my 6th, my length is definitely greater than 4. So go ahead and step into that. I want to slice 5 minus 5, which would be 0. Yeah, that's definitely not what I want. It's not doing it. So the next time around, I should have slice 1. Am I getting closer? Let's do this. Let's do 7. All right, so step over. It's not slicing anything out of that either. 1, 2, 3, 4 has a length of 5. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, hey, 1 popped off. So how many am I showing now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think this check actually needs to be 4 instead of 5. Yeah, let's give that a go. All right, sorry for spamming chat like this, guys. I know that's probably not fun to look at. All right, so I have my 5 messages, pop in my 6th, bam, 1 comes off the top, and the next one slides in on the bottom. So that does look to be the method that I want to do. Let's get rid of this, clean it up a little bit. My chat list view, I didn't make any changes in that. I'm going to go ahead and close that. The overlay page. So I'm going to leave that the way it is for right now. And let's see, we have 4. That seems to be working the way I want it to at the moment. Anybody else have comments on that, on the implementation that I have right now? You know, one thing that would have made this a lot easier to figure out, which is why I was talking about creating the test form to be able to pump messages in, is currently I have no unit testing in this project at all. If I had unit tests around my store, I think it would make this a lot easier to debug. So that's a candidate for a future stream, I think. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and commit that? Let's take a look at our board. What all do we want to do? Our messages do age. Oh, I need to put that back because I commented it out, right? So chat messages, they age themselves out after 10 seconds. And my store is managing the length of messages that I let hang around for a while to only be 5, basically. And that's not very explicit here. I'm going to actually make it like this. 5. And then I'm going to put a const up here. We're going to call it max messages 5. I'm kind of tempted to push that out into an environment variable to where I can change it if I want to. For right now, that's where I'm going to leave it though. And you know, why isn't that in state itself? So let's put that there. Max display 5. That. State max display. State max display, and we can get rid of this constant basically, and that looks a little cleaner. Let's make sure we didn't break it though. All right, and I don't have a breakpoint anymore, so good. We should be able to watch it flow in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next one should pop off the 1 message, and it didn't. 7. All right, so what did I break here? It started out with 4 max display. So if it's greater than 5, so this should probably be, no. I want it to be explicit and say that, you know, the maximum it should display is 5 at any given time. So I need to account for that here. So I'm basically saying if it's greater than 5, meaning there are 6 already being displayed, this actually needs to be stop helping me, Visual Studio Code. State display -1. Length minus, and I'm going to need the same thing here, I do believe. All right, back at it. You guys are being awfully quiet. Have I bored you to death? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. So they're popping off the way I want them to now. And our aging out should be working as well. Oh, that was weird. Why did it do that? 7. Let's see, Mr. Jolly, 842. Huh. That's interesting. Let me see if I can get that to happen again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the what? Is that upside down? Chat array. Max display of 5. Chat message are all gone. So watch as they time out. Foo. They start timing out from the bottom instead of the top. No. JavaScript. What? Let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not helping, Michael. Yeah, did you see that? They're not. Something's causing them to come out at a different rate. Go ahead. You know what I suspect that is that the way we are doing this slice, we're replacing the chat message array itself, which is messing with the reactivity system inside Vue. Mutations should always be executed synchronously in Vue. So this add message, when the messages come through to kick that off, they will be done serially. They won't allow them to process at the same time. So let's see. Can we do this a different way? So let's try commenting this out. Okay, see, now that we kind of got the math figured out, what if we were to do, if the length is greater than the max display, while, or go back to our while loop real quick. While this, we're going to say state chat messages dot Not splice. I think unshift is the one that I want. So we have an array. Oh. There is pop and push. Do I seriously want pop? I think I'm using the wrong method. Pop. The method removes the last element from an array and returns that element. So I'm going to get tomato out. So that's not what I want. I want broccoli instead of tomato. So it's not pop. What about shift? Shift. Method removes the first element from array and returns the removed element. It's shift is what I want. Chat dot shift. Let's give that a go. Let's see, Mr. Robert Tables, what are you telling me? Do you have, yep, try using splice instead of slice. Wait, no, don't do that. I was wrong. It's nice to be able to admit when you're wrong, Mr. Robert Tables. Thank you. Yes, Codeman Codes. I think we figured it out. Give that a go. Okay, so what messages do I have? Okay, we have Mr. Robert Tables message. Let's get rid of that. Let's start clean. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why are they aging out backwards? Let's see. Codeman Codes is way out of sync. Isn't that weird? Oh, that was interesting. It actually removed my message as soon as it was added, so. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is definitely wrong. Wrong. Well. Let's try adding some logging in here. So we're going to const removed equals what do I have in chat message? What info can I put in there that's meaningful? Let's use the username. Use a display name. That. So removed user display name, and we'll put the message in there as well. So removed, and I do see that extra dot. I'll get that real quick. Message. So remove dot message. That. All right. What don't you like? Unexpected token. Oh, it helps if I could spell const correctly. All right. All right. Console log. It's going to complain at me about the console log. That's cool. So now let's watch that. Oh. Just a second, Mr. Robert Tables. I'll look at your message in just a second. Three, four, five, six. Removing 1, removing 2. What now? Are you guys seeing that? Okay. The warning that it's giving me is my ESLint rules have console logs being a warning, so that shouldn't cause a problem though. So they're being removed, but not through the mutation. It isn't the mutation removing them. When I add a message, it is, what is this? Add message. It's delete message. And I'm splicing to remove it. This might actually be a bug in the delete message functionality, not in the add message functionality. Does that make sense? So let's see. Let's try doing the same thing here. Yes, state's supposed to be immutable. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this statement here. I want to leave that comment for a second. So remember, I'm pushing messages into the mutation. I'm adding a message, which should add it into the chat messages state. But I'm also doing this while loop that's removing the messages out of state. I wonder if I should be broadcasting the delete message mutation out of here instead of doing it directly. Not sure. Give me a minute. Let's see what the behavior is here. So you want the ID in the log as well? Okay. Display name, display message. I'm not sure the ID is going to be all that valuable, but I guess we're matching here based on that ID, right? So, okay. Refresh. Still whining at me about console log, which is cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It popped the one off the top, so our add message functionality is working the way we want it to. They appear to be coming out in the right order, right? So it removed the first one first, then the second one, then the third one, the fourth, and the fifth. But the display is actually in reverse order. Delete chat messages splice is modifying the state directly. You're talking about right here. Let's try this as well. So This is the message I'm telling it to remove. I'm getting the index of that message out of the array itself. Let's do the same console log for the message of the index that I'm searching for. I wonder if we're getting a different message. So log, we're going to say what? Chat messages. Yeah, so chat messages. This. Index. Or state.chat messages. And I realize I'm creating a mess here, but I'll go back and clean it up once I figure it out. So let's go ahead and save that. So basically I'm saying, hey, my mutation is being called to delete the message, this message right here. I print out some information about that. I then do a find index on the chat message array to find the index of that message itself. And then I print out the same console log message of the message's index that I received before I attempt to do this splice. So let's see what the behavior there is. All right. It really doesn't like my console logs. Yeah. I'm not using Lodash right now. It seems weird to add the dependency just for this little chunk of information. Okay. Index is undefined. State.chatMessages index is undefined. So when I do this find index, I'm getting, I see what's happening. I'm not actually getting an index. So let's log the index real quick. So console log index. Come back, try it again. I'm going to confirm that it is what I think it is, Robert Tables, and then I'll give your suggestion a try. All right. So the first two, I'm getting a -1 index. And then I'm getting zeros. Okay. So let's give your suggestion a try, Mr. Robert Tables. We're going to say something like this. State chat messages equals state chat messages dot filter, and we basically just want like so. Is that what you're suggesting? Yeah, -1 if it doesn't find it, which is kind of weird. Let's give that another go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So filter's not doing what I want it to either. Oh, I see what I did wrong there. That's me being retarded and flailing. So as long as it's not the message ID of the one I want deleted, include it. Derp. All right, so bang, bang, bang. That's what we wanted. Something I did notice just now, though, we're back to only having 4 messages displayed max. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's 5 messages that I wanted max. So we're getting close. We're getting there. Let's do a little cleanup and make sure I don't have a bunch of garbage staying in here. So in my add message, doop, doop, doop. I think I don't need that. I think that's why it is only showing us 4. So basically, I'm in this while loop. I'm basically saying as long as the length is greater than max display, which is 5, pop one off. Just keep popping it off. Pop the oldest one off, or the beginning of the array. And then that should, when we come out of that while loop, we should only have 4, and then we're pushing the new message in. Right? Everybody with me? Okay. Super cool. Let's go ahead and refresh that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it should be showing me all 5. It does. 6. Bam. And now they should all age out in the correct order. Come on, 6. Hey. Hey. Aw, heck. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at what all we've changed, because I don't want to commit without looking at that stuff yet. So 2. We modified chat.js. We added the max display to the default state for messages. I only want 5 messages. This isn't really a display thing though, right? That variable name is not a good variable name. We modified our add message mutation so that it keeps us at the max display value and then adds the next message in. We simplified our delete message so it's a one-liner. That makes me really happy. Right? Is it really, Codeman Codes? What, how are you viewing chat? Are you viewing chat on Twitch itself, or are you using something like Chatty, like an IRC chat client? So these changes look good to me. Anybody see a problem with what I have there? I think that's pretty clean. I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at the chat overlay page. What did I change here? Let's get rid of that. What I changed here was I removed that nasty slice out of there. And I have a computed property. That's not really what I need now. It shouldn't be a computed property anymore because we're not really computing display messages. Chat overlay page. What is it that I should be using though? Let's go look that up real quick. I always forget the various mounting points for data in Vue. So here we are. We're in the chat page. This isn't computed. It's not a part of data because we're pulling it out of state. Let me pull something up real quick. Let's see. T. source, not myself. Full stack Vue code. So Full Stack Vue is a book that I've been reading to learn kind of the fundamentals of Vue with the intention of learning the jargon and what to call things so that when I'm up presenting at a conference or something like that, I'm not showing code on a slide deck and calling it a flibbity gibbet when it's actually a foobar baz, right? And the whole audience is sitting there going, what? So, okay. So what am I looking for? I am looking for my store. Login store. Components. Login view, not found. Product. Product item. Product list. This. Map getters. Product items. So that is probably what I need right there. So I'm going to steal some of this code real quick. I'm going to come back and I'm going to import map state, which I already have there, even though I'm not using it. Or yes, I am. Map state. What I need to change is the way I'm using it. I want it like this. I want map. Oh, I'm not using getters. So using map state. Display messages, state, just return it. I would actually need a getter in my store to do that. So why don't we do that? We'll wire up a getter since I don't have one in here. And what do getters look like? If I come back and I look at my getter in state. Sorry, getting a call. Don't know who that phone number is. Not going to answer. Come in here to not components, but my store itself. The modules, get products, and getters look something like this. Product items. So I'm going to go copy that. Not copy. Get out of here. Okay, come back over here. I'm going to put a getter in my chat messages. I'm going to call this display messages. And I'm going to return state.chat messages. So I'm basically creating a getter called display messages that I can then reference inside my chat overlay page. And I don't want map state, I want map getters. And if I go back to look at that, what was this in components? Product list, computed. So I still need it to be a computed. I'm going to pull this stuff out. And the syntax is give me an object. Then I'm going to spread the results of calling map getters. This. And I hand that an array with the name of the getter I want to use, which should be display messages. That. And what don't you like about it? Expected a semicolon in chat overlay page. Where did I mess it up? There we go. I didn't quite delete everything that needed to be deleted. So that's good. So let's test it out and see if it still works. What? Whoa, my giant head. Unknown getter, display messages. Why is it an unknown getter? Am I not passing my getters out? Yes, I am. Whoa, yeah, my giant head. Let's see. Display messages. Oh, it might be because I'm doing this. Chat. I am actually namespacing, I think is what it's called. If I go and look at index, chat view, modules chat, where's it at? Yeah, see how it's namespaced true? I think I actually have to reference it in the getter here with its full namespace. I think that will do it. Property or method display message is not defined in the instance but referenced during render. List computed, map getters, product items. Give me just a second, folks. What I'm doing is I'm looking at my my sample application to see how that's wired up. So I have a store in my index. It is not namespaced. And when I go to my product list, I do a computed properties for product items, and my product items getter is right there. And it looks like I have that written the right way. So I'm exporting my chat module. Here's my chat module. It is namespaced. I have a getter called display messages. This doesn't really matter. View overlay page, and then I'm trying to get the display messages. So maybe I don't understand yet how to reference the namespace getters. So I'm going to go ahead and back these changes out. Keep using state itself. Make sure that's the change that broke it. All right, what don't you like about, oh, because I didn't do that. Map getters, map state. All right, now it should be good to go. It is. Okay, it's working again. Let's go check the Vue docs for Vuex to see how to use a namespaced getter. So Vuex namespaced getters. Okay, so I was close, it looks like. So getters, this would be getters account admin. So this getter defined right here is chat. It should be chat/display messages. But you know, I'm not really manipulating the value. I'm just passing back state itself. And kind of the intention of getters is that you can manipulate state as it goes out. So like say I have records in my store that have a timestamp, and I want to use something like moment to pretty print the timestamp instead of having a Unix timecode in there, right? So I could define a getter that says, okay, well, when you get one of these objects using the getter, substitute out all of the Unix timestamps for these pretty printed moment timestamps. I'm not manipulating it, so it seems like getter is going to be an inappropriate use. But I do kind of want to figure out why it's not working, though. So let's head back over here, and I'm going to pull both of them out now. So map getters. All right. So we can do this as computed. What the syntax was different though, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out this, and I'm going to start over again. So computed, and the syntax for this was handed an object like that, and inside that object we want to spread the return value of map getters, and that takes an array of strings of the names of the getters that you want. We know that I want this display messages like this, and this should fail because I'm namespaced, so I just want to verify that it does fail. Yes, unknown getter display messages. Okay, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to say chat display messages. Property or method display messages is not defined on the instance but referenced during render. Oh, on render, right here. Chat messages equal display messages. So what is the object I'm getting out of here when it's namespaced? Is it actually called display messages? Huh. Let's go back to the documentation. You see, the problem is that in my template up here, I'm expecting a value to be in my component called display messages. And it's saying there is nothing called display messages. What are you talking about? So I need to change this reference in such a way so that whatever this value is that gets pulled out as chat display messages, this is going to change. I'm just not sure what it's going to change to. Vuex store. My page. Namespace getters and actions will receive localized getters, dispatch, and commit. In other words, you can use the module assets without writing prefix in the same module. Toggling between namespace or not does not affect the code inside the module. All right. Vuex namespace getters. Map getters. There we go. You guys still with me? How long have we been going, by the way? Well, we started at about noon. It's almost 2. Woohoo. Okay. Oh, interesting. So you see this? I have to reference the namespace or the module that I'm pulling the getter out of. That's interesting. So where's it at? Chat overlay page, map getters. What it wants me to do is have a reference to the module. So chat, pull that out, hit save. Oh shit. Oh, excuse me. Family friendly. I'm not using map state. I can go fix that in a second. So let's give this a try. And still time out the way I want it to. Longest 10 seconds ever. Yeah, cool. So that is working the way I want it to. So I can get rid of this commented out code. So now we know how to use namespace getters in a Vuex store. Shockingly enough, you just have to reference it right. So I'm pretty happy with this. Let's look at the code changes for the chat overlay page. I need to get rid of that map state because we're not using it anymore. We're just using map getters. All right. So back here, that looks good. We're now using a computed property using the getters inside our store. It's properly namespaced. Chat overlay looks pretty good to me. Let's look at chat. What is chat doing? I've added my my getter. I still don't like this max display. And all that is the code we worked through earlier. Anybody have a better name? What if we called it limit? Because that's really what it is. It's like, hey, at any given time in my store, I only ever want 5 messages to be there, right? So I think that's what I'm going to call it. Limit. State limit. Is there anywhere else I was using it? Let's try find display. Nope, that's it. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's commit it. Get rid of that window. Let's see, I'm chopping myself off there. Oh, that's completely the wrong terminal window. All right. All right. Push that on up. That should kick off my CI and fix whatever's going on with... Oh, yeah. I've got some dependencies with security concerns on them right now. That's what it's telling me right now. It should kick off my CI build and fix whatever's going on Zeit. Let's take a look at that and make sure that it's resolved. And then we'll look at wrapping up the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and close some of those out. This wasn't really a bug, but we used it to clean up how our Vuex usage for chat reflection was being done. So I'm pretty happy with that. We didn't get to the chat reflection item. Maybe we do that in another stream, a future stream. And one thing that I'm kind of doing here is I'm being really anal about the structure of the application for this kind of end-to-end feature all the way through. I wanted the pattern to be established in such a way that I feel it's written well and it's under unit test and it behaves the way I want it to before I start adding other features on top of it. So I've been kind of spinning my wheels on this chat reflection for a while, trying to achieve that goal, right? I want to be happy with the way chat reflection works. Before I just start throwing a whole bunch of features into Bivrost and then have a situation where I have to come back and touch all of those features because I changed the way something works, if that makes sense to you. So, Zeit. All right. My build is happening right now, so we can watch that going on. That's cool. So it's building. So how do you guys feel about this? Like where we're leaving it off right now? Do you feel we had a good experience, that we've learned something today about Vue and how these things work together? I feel pretty good about it. I kind of feel bad that I thought I had a bug that wasn't really a bug. But other than that, I kind of like the way it ended up. Things that I want to add in before we're done with Bivrost is, do I still have it running locally? Yeah, I think I do. Localhost, is it 8080? No, it's not. I think it's 5,000. Not 500, 5,000. Bam. So one of the things that I want to do with Bivrost is I have all my overlays under here, right? And these really are only going to be used when I'm in production mode in OBS. So I'll put the URLs to the individual overlays into OBS layered the way that I want them to. Another menu item that I'm going to put up here are like tester forms that allow me to simulate events coming from Twitch to where I don't actually have to be connected to chat. I can just kind of pump data in and see how the overlays behave and react to it. That should be a fun stream. But then I want this homepage to kind of be like a desktop for when I'm actively doing a stream. So I can see the chat messages coming through. I can see who has followed me, who's subscribed, who's gave bits, like who's my top bit person, how many people are actively watching me at the moment, and like maybe have a graph over time. So it's kind of like a heads up display, kind of like the dashboard in Twitch is intended to be, but it's more focused on me and the bits of information that I want to see. As well as giving me some quick shortcuts to part of my flow, right? So if you guys have noticed, what I tend to do is I will, an hour before I'm going to go live, I'll tweet, hey, I'm going live in an hour. And then or the day of, I say, hey, I'm going to be streaming today. And an hour before, I say, hey, I'm going to be streaming in an hour. And then right at the time of stream, I say, hey, I'm streaming right now. I'd really like to be able to push those messages out of Bivrost instead of having to go into Twitter and do that. So it's kind of like a dashboard, heads-up display, admin sort of tool. So those are kind of where I want to go long-term with the application. Let's see, it looks like it's still building. Why are you taking so long? Status ready. There we go. Is it done? Let's go back here and look. Yes, it switched over. And if I pop in and look at it and go to my overlay, I should be able to pop message in there. And there it is. It's very nice. Not sure what's going on in my stream at the moment. Let's try putting the URL back to the actual Bivrost deployment and see if it's going to behave. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my screen. Let's test that again. Yeah, that timing thing was really bizarre. I'm going to chalk that up to me just freehand coding stuff without actually having unit tests wrapped around it. Which if I were actually doing this for a production system, not a toy system, I probably would have started out with an end-to-end unit test harness that would allow me to identify things like that. So we had to do some old school debugging with some console logging and some breakpoints and that sort of thing. In a future stream, we'll add some unit tests to the front end and definitely the back end as well, because as we add features into the system, it is going to become more complex. And I will need to lean on those unit tests more and more. So let's pop back up to the camera and let's talk to you folks, because I'm doing all this for you. No, I'm not. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for us. Whatever. So back to our project. This is where we're going to leave it off. I want to go ahead and call out again that I will be doing a stream tomorrow at noon Pacific time with Vittorio. He's going to be joining us. We're going to be continuing learning or watching the Learn Identity videos. The video we're going to be doing tomorrow is on OpenID Connect and OAuth. So if you're unfamiliar with those concepts or you want to get a better understanding of those concepts, join us tomorrow at noon. It is listed as an event on my channel. So if you pop in here, I'm not actually showing you that, so let me show it to you. Come into the events and look for the Learn Identity series, right? Should be very cool. Vittorio's a really great teacher. He has a depth of knowledge that is just astounding. So I hope to see you there tomorrow. And well, before I split, let's see if anybody is available to raid. There should be some people raidable, right? Let's see who's on. Lena's on, Instafluff is on, I'm on, and Clancy is on. Looks like Clancy's working on some Xamarin Forms. That sounds good. Why don't we raid Clancy? Where is my raid dialog? There it is. Clancy? Yeah, thanks, Mr. Jolly. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I really appreciate that a lot. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I do intend to start doing 3 streams a week and sticking to my schedule. So if you guys like what I'm doing, give me a follow and come hang out with me during my regularly scheduled streams. All right. So thank you all. And definitely stick around for the raid. Head on over to Clancy's channel and at least say hi before you bail out, and give him a follow if you like what he's working on.